What it do? What it do? This is Jalen Prince. Please and welcome to Two Dudes with Sports News Podcast. As you can see, I'm going solo tonight. My co-host Garrett is going to be out for the week. Him and his lady are working on moving, so you got your boy tonight. Um, but first off, I want to give a shout out to my co-host who's not going to be here, but I'm not going solo tonight. I am joined by my very great friend, former Alabama alum and Mississippi and former Mississippi um, sports reporter, Mr. Garrett Williams. So we're looking
Dang,
at
man,
Jason,
what's going
Jason,
on?
Jason. My bad. I'm fumbling everywhere. Anyway, I'm here with my dog Jason Williams, resident Bama fan, resident Falcons fan, resident Miami Heat fan. What it do, Jay?
What's up? What's up, man? You doing all right?
Shoot, bro, you already see me fumbling already, man. We just get started. Hey,
Yeah, man.
but first thing first, we really want to appreciate y'all tuning in tonight. We're gonna have a good show. We got a lot to talk about. A lot of NFL week 2, a lot of college football week 3. We're gonna preview a couple of games, give our pick'ems for week 3 of the NFL season, and maybe a few games of college football. Not really a lot of big games going on this week outside of maybe Oklahoma and that other school in Alabama, but we'll get into that a little bit later on. Jason, what what you been up to, dog?
Nothing much, man. Just been back home recently, just watching a bunch of football this past weekend. Want to go ahead and get into that, man. It was a really, like you texted me at the end of Saturday, it was a really good day of football. And then I think Sunday just about matched it.
Yep. Yeah, we about to get into it, but first things first, please follow us on all social media platforms, Twitter/X, at TDSN pod, TikTok, TDSN_pod, and then follow us on our YouTube where we are streaming live as we speak, as well on my Facebook account as we go live. So Jay, let's get into it. I'm gonna start on this one solo because this one's personal to me.
Okay.
So like, I'm gonna bring you back one sec.
All right.
All right. This past weekend we just saw. If you're a Georgia Southern fan, like I am, we had our season on. We had our home opener of the season. Started off 0-2, losing to Fresno State 2 weeks ago, then losing to USC the week prior. We came out with a win, 41-34 over that team in Livingston, Alabama, in the Jacksonville State um, Gamecocks. They put up one heck of a fight. They had former Eagles on the team, but we were able to come out with the W, and I was pleased that we won. But I'm very concerned, especially since we're going into Sunbelt play very, very soon. Our defense is a big issue currently as the Eagles are going throughout the season. We're able to put up points. We got a lot of playmakers on the offensive side of the ball. Shout out to JC French. He was able to make some things happen. David Bedinga, OJ Arnold. They were able to get a lot of things done, and I'm very very pleased at how they were able to finish the game. Receivers, obviously, we got a lot of weapons on the outside, but again, my main issue is on the defensive end. Defensively, bro, we can't stop the run. I think we allowed over 150 yards against Fresno State. I can't remember how much you against USC that things were turning out, but overall, defense got to get finished. We got the main Black Bears this week. I'm excited about that just to be able to get a chance to enjoy Alabama's time off overall. So again, I'm going to be able to enjoy that. Um, but again, we got to clean up things on the defensive end if we want to have a chance to be able to win the Sun Belt Conference because we got a lot of tough games going into that. So as I end off of that one, great win, but we got to be able to clean up some things. So I'm gonna bring back my dog Jason. We're gonna move on to some other games. Um, we're gonna start with both of our alma maters. Jason,
Roll Tide. Roll Tide.
we roll tide, roll tide. Alabama came out with a dominating win, 38-14 over the Wisconsin Badgers of the Big Ten. It was a great day by the Tide and Ty Simpson, who was basically as efficient as anybody can be going into a game like that. He was handling business left and right. He threw for 382 yards, had 4 touchdowns. Ryan Williams had his comeback game. 5 catches for 165 and 2 TDs. Obviously, had one of the biggest highlight plays of the game. Jason, when you watch as much as you could at the time. When you watch Alabama, the way they were able to dominate, and as good as the offense has played, actually the team has played as a whole the last 2 weeks since the Florida State loss. What has impressed you the most?
Um, I mean, there's a lot you could go with. Let's see the wide receiver play. I think wide receiver play has got to be number one, especially from. I know you just mentioned Ryan Williams having a comeback game. I think wide receiver play from Jeremy Bernard, and I think this is a shared thought among the Crimson Tide fan base. Jeremy Bernard has been consistent in his past 2 years here so far, and I've just been really impressed by that. Since the FSU game, I think Ty Simpson's just presence in the pocket has been much smoother. It doesn't look like he's bailing out a lot more, and he just looks a lot more comfortable making his decisions. Would still like to see some improvement in the run game, but I'm sure that'll continue to develop throughout the year, especially as they get started into SEC play, not this week, but next week. But yeah, I think that's probably been the best on the offensive side. I think defensively, I think what everyone, the entire fan base was mad about effort mostly. It seemed like they were just taking the punch from Florida State on week one. And then since week two and week three, they've responded. They had a shutout against Louisiana Monroe, and then they shut out Wisconsin for the first half of that game. So I think everyone's been pleased with that. DB play, I think I don't think anyone really goes at Damani Jackson at all. I know they gave up that touchdown at the end there, but that was like a perfect ball. But outside of that, I don't think anyone really goes out to Damani Jackson. So I think he's been a real bright spot since he's gotten to Tuscaloosa. Or was it Damani or was it Zabian?
It's
Either
Damani.
way, it was Damani. Either way, I
Yeah.
think both of them have been bright spots. But yeah, I think those are all your biggest bright spots so far.
My takeaway from the game was I'm glad we were able to dominate once again. We dominated ULM the week prior, but in this game we were able to take advantage of opportunities, especially like ties in a rhythm, and we're able to protect them.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, the biggest thing that a lot of Bama fans are concerned about is our run game. As a total, we only rushed for 72 yards. Our leading rusher was Ty Simpson. He had 25 yards rushing. Kevin Riley, who I've been happy about ever since like he started getting playing time. He had 20 yards. Drake Washington had 13. AK had 9. Richard Young only had 3. Jern only had 1 carry for the 2 yard run. For the 2 yard run for a touchdown. But other than that, we haven't had a lot of success on the ground game all season long. But I believe that's going to come in time, especially the way that the passing game has been the last few games. It's going to open up opportunities with the run game, especially since like if you're paying attention to how Bama has been playing, especially with the rotation of the offensive line, you have been seeing a lot of mixed matches at the right tackle and the right guard position because we'll see
Hmm.
Jaden Roberts and then we'll see number 56. We'll see Wilkin Formey and then we'll see the freshman Michael Carroll, who was recruited as a guard playing right tackle. So we've been seeing a whole lot of motion on that side, not a lot of consistency with that starting offensive line position. However, once the season goes along, I think we'll start seeing more of a consistent lineup. And once that comes about, I think that'll open up the run game a little bit later on. So I'm not much worried about the run game as we go into Athens coming next week. But I'm still highly confident because of what you mentioned. The pass game is going strong right now. I mean, between Ryan getting his mojo back after last weekend, but Germ has took on that responsibility as a wide receiver one, being like getting consistently open, making the tough catches. Isaiah Horton, he's slowly stepping in. He's slowly getting healthy because I think he was battling an injury at one point. Lotzir Brooks, he was able to get some reps with the last 2 weeks. But think about this: I mentioned Riley earlier. He's been able to help out in the past game. Josh Cuevas has been a consistent presence. as well. So it's going to take time for the run game to come about. But with this win, it's just like showing more improvement with this team. You hate that
Yeah.
you gave up 14 points, albeit one of them was a kickoff return, but still, you hate that you gave it up.
Yeah. Absolutely. And the other one was just a perfectly placed ball on a go route. So I know that the standard was at Bray. I saw a quote afterward. Bray Hubbard said the standard was, trying to get 0 on the board, but it was a perfectly placed ball. But outside of that, really like the play
I'm
from the
glad you
teams.
mentioned. I'm glad you mentioned Bray. You and I both know he took a lot of heat after the Florida State game.
Yeah, absolutely. Social media was all over him. The fan.
Yeah, yeah. He took a whole lot ton of heat as far as with the effort, and he owned up to it. He knew exactly what was up. He just had to, clean it up. In the last 2 games, he's cleaned it up. He's shown more effort, and Wisconsin's been his best game so far. Outside of just the 2 interceptions, especially they've been real good coverage interceptions at that.
Mm-hmm.
Is the way he's flying around. It was the way he was flying around the field when Wisconsin was trying to run the ball. Albeit, like our defense is steadily improving. You hate that you gave up 92 rushing yards against their squad. I'm trying to remember how much of that was in like garbage time, but nevertheless,
You
you
don't want to
you,
give it up.
you don't want to give it up at all. So it was a great win by Bama. You got the Bulldogs coming up in 2 weeks, so enjoy this week off and get ready for a whole lot of hype and a whole lot of issues come next week. But
Night game in Athens. The
yeah,
Georgia fan base has been begging for Bama to come to Athens for what, a decade now? Feels like.
r- real quick, have you been hearing the rumors?
I saw that the Barstool Georgia account wants that.
Yeah, but
It'll be
that fan base does not.
some. I've seen a bit of a split actually between them. I think some of them don't want it. Some of them are like, quit acting scared about the color of the jersey. It's an
Yeah,
interesting thing for them to be superstitious about.
bro. When you're in the South, like when it comes to sports, superstition is everything around here.
Hmm.
Especially when it comes to routine. If you throw your routine off a little bit and you lose, it's gonna be in your mind throughout for a long time. So like, I don't blame them. I'm good either way. I'm just excited to go to Athens and like, um, you know, do my job and hopefully see the Tide come out with a win. Speaking
Oh
of
yeah.
them dogs, they had a fight. They had a
Oh yeah.
fight.
Georgia had no business winning this football game.
They didn't,
I
but you got to give them credit. Like that game was the testament of a championship, quote unquote championship mentality that
hmm
Kirby Smart has established for a long time in Athens, and
finding a way
it
to
was
win.
finding ways to win, and that was one thing that Bama has always been known for, and still known for to this day. No matter what anybody says about that, but when it comes to Georgia, to be able to pull this out, to do this in Neyland of all places,
Hmm.
you got to
You
give them credit. But I want to start with Tennessee first. First off, they got a quarterback,
Joey's
especially after
good.
all the drama that especially after all the drama that they went through this offseason with that quarterback situation with Nico Iamaleava. This kid Joey Aguilar, he can ball, he can play. And he was sensational in this game. Albeit for them, gotta clean up the turnovers because you can only imagine if they don't turn the ball over in the situations that they did. Obviously, you had a wide receiver that slipped, and Georgia's defender was able to take advantage of it. Okay, that thing happened. That's one of those unintentional turnovers that like the quarterback's not responsible for, but heck, it's on the stat sheet, and you don't want to have no turnovers. But throwing for 371 yards, only having 12 completions out of 36 passes, having 4 touchdowns total. Majority of them went over to this kid Chris Braswell, who had 3 tutties in a buck 77. He was playing out of his mind. You got to be impressed with what Tennessee did, but also at the same time, you got to look at Coach Heupel being to blame for the reason why Tennessee is currently right now under a 8-game losing streak to Georgia.
I think the biggest thing that I'm not sure how much has been talked about. I think the biggest thing, and like I'm not sure what the coaches could have done to help him out, but it was mentioned early on in the game that Tennessee was down a cornerback, and they had a true freshman corner out there late in the game, and they went after him. Georgia went after him like all game, and the game tying touchdown they went after him from the Gunners Stockton to Humphreys, I believe is his last name, the wide receiver for
Yep.
Georgia. They caught it. First of all, what a throw and catch. And secondly, but that was on that freshman, and he had gotten picked on pretty much all game. So I think that was a big learning. That was a big learning moment for him.
London Humphreys.
Yeah, London Humphreys. But for the cornerback who had to step in that game, I think that game was a big, just eye opener to how good some of these guys are because they went after him like all game, and it just was what it was. Tennessee went up 21-7 to start the game. They threw the first punch, and then they let Georgia respond, and then they got up 8 late, and they let Georgia respond again. And then I think the biggest flaw, and this is a coaching thing that happened late in the game. This can come back to coaching. There was about 8 seconds left in the fourth quarter, and Tennessee had the ball with the timeout. And they had it was on third down when Tennessee decided to kick the football. And they could have ran the ball, or if they felt confident throwing it, they had plenty of time to throw it if they wanted to get themselves a little bit closer. And they decided against that. I think that was probably one of the bigger coaching flaws in that game because they had time to run one more play to get a little bit closer and get to wherever their kicker wanted it to kick that field goal. And then he just missed it wide right.
Dude, to me, the biggest coaching flaw was once 74 of Tennessee got that false start, and when they were able to
Yes, that happened
make
right there too. That happened in that same sequence too. I forgot about that.
once he got called for the false start, Tennessee was in complete control at that point. They got in field goal range in general, but they had to keep on making it closer and kill more clock and be able to get those first downs. That way, Georgia can run all their timeouts. But once the false start happened, that backed them up and it stopped the clock. You had 7 seconds left, but but I think Tennessee had all their timeouts left.
One. It was
They
one
had
timeout
one
left
timeout left, so that's still enough time for them
to
in that
run the one more
situation
play.
to run the ball, gain some more yards, at least gain some of it back, and then try to go down and then call a timeout, and then you give your kicker a chance to be able to win the game. You don't want to make too many excuses when it comes to games like this, but you can only imagine what would have happened if they would have done it like that. Because in a sense, where you worked your way to be able to get up closer to in field goal range, if you're Tennessee, and then obviously penalty came about, you backed it up, and coach just sent you there automatically. But everybody in that was paying attention and watching this game knew that the kicker, dog, he was nervous, he was shook. And when you're a coach, you got to be able to see that and at least let me try to make it easier on him and try to ease his mind. Because in that situation, he was not ready for that moment, that per se, and it ended up costing him.
Yeah. I
So
mean, at the end of the day, Georgia found a way when Tennessee didn't. Tennessee had, probably multiple chances that I'm forgetting to put Georgia away, and they didn't. So Georgia finds a way to win. They remain undefeated, and they start SEC play 1-0.
yep.
And
As you
that's the
mentioned,
reality of the situation for them at this point.
Georgia starts the season 1-0 in the SEC play. Moving on, they're on a bye week before they host Alabama coming in. Tennessee, they start 0-1 in SEC play. They're 2-1 on the season. So yeah, they got to be able to move on fast. Um, that wasn't the only big game that we saw this weekend. There was another big game that happened right after it, between the Gators of Florida and LSU. Um, so far, I don't know. I don't know whether you could call this a good game
It was
or
something.
it was something.
It was.
I don't even know how to explain it. Now, my co-host, I wish he was here. He would be able to explain it the best way he could, because I couldn't. All we know is like Florida's 1-2. You lose your losses are to to the Baton Rouge, to the Bayou Tigers and and the
The
South Florida.
South
Like
Florida
those are your
Bowl.
two. Those, yeah. But
It
I,
feels
I don't
like.
even
No, go ahead.
I don't even know what to say. Like,
After about pick number 3, it feels like coaching malpractice to keep DJ in there.
but he's still
If
your
they don't
best
have, if they
quarterback
don't
on
have
that
another
team.
guy, that's fine. Then I understand it. But DJ looked like he was just having a rough time out there.
He was having a rough time. He looked like he was forcing a whole lot of stuff that was out there. I mean, look, he had 287 yards. He had a touchdown, but dog, them 5 interceptions, man, bruh. Like
I don't
the
know if
last
the
time
I don't know if the second touchdown that got wiped hurt his confidence. It was pretty early in
it
the
hurt
game.
something.
They had a touchdown get wiped away because of a holding call. It was like a 95-yard passing touchdown. But I don't know if that hurt his confidence at all because it got wiped. But second half was just rough to watch,
Now,
man.
now, don't get me wrong. LSU probably has a top five defense. They definitely have a top five defense in unit. Definitely probably going to be right now the best defense in the conference. We get all of that. And you have to give them a ton of credit for how they were able to game plan against Lagaway and them boys. But when you're Lagaway, you can't make a situation worse. Like he made a lot of that situation worse, and
Yeah.
it's kind of hard, like to defend 5 interceptions, especially a lot of them that were bad throws. Knowing how talented this kid is.
Yeah. It's just a rough watch for him. You would feel like LSU would have scored more points though if he threw 5 picks and they only got the 1 pick 6 off of it. I believe. I'm
Yeah,
not sure how many more points they scored off turnovers. It feels like they should have won this game by more. But if you're LSU, you're happy to get a win over a rival at
I
the end
mean
of
you
the day.
you take away that pick six. Shoot, they only scored. Let's see, they only scored 13 points out of that.
But yeah,
And
you're
and the
you're
thing
happy to
about
get
it,
a win over a rival.
you're happy about it. Now, let's see. Garrett Nussmeier, he was 15 for 27. He threw for 220 yards. He had a touchdown, and he had an interception. And that interception came at a bad time as well, because like that definitely could have got him back in the game. But their defense has been lights out throughout the whole season, and they've been able to hold out. Um, shoot, Caden Durham, he had 93 yards rushing, so they was able to run the ball a little bit, not a ton, but shoot, that's just LSU's defense right now. They held Florida scoreless in the second half.
They did that without Weeks, by the way.
Yo,
Witt got tossed early in that game. Very early in that game, Witt got tossed, and they were able to still do that to Florida without him. So I think that should be mentioned as well.
yeah, but LSU they move on. Same thing with Florida. Florida got to go to Miami, so they get to stay in the state, but they got to try to bounce back. I mean, because we already know they're gonna have a rough schedule. But anyway, they got to move on, and so do we. Last game that I want to talk about in college sports, because this was an instant classic, and I'm glad this happened. Um, A&M, shout out to them. They were able to go into what is it, North Bend,
South Bend,
Indiana,
South Bend,
South Bend,
Indiana.
Indiana,
Yeah,
South Bend. They were able to go into South Bend and take down Notre Dame. And Marcel Reed, he played his butt off. Like that was a really, really good game. But Marcel Reed, he showed out in that one. They have the game winning touchdown at that moment. Um, bro, it's no big secret. I hate Notre Dame.
I get it.
I,
I
I
get it.
despise Notre Dame.
I get it.
I don't know why I despise. No, like I remember sometime this week when I was thinking about that game, I was just thinking to myself, I truly hate Notre Dame. Like that, like, I despise them so much, and I don't know what it is. It's like I know, but I don't know what it is about them that I despise so much. Because I love Marcus Freeman, but I hate everything about that daggum team.
Is
I hate
it?
everything about like their jerk. I hate that dog. It's like I got Kendrick Lamar, Drake on Drake hate on them jokers. Like I got
Is it?
Frieza. I got Frieza saying hate. It's that type of hate.
Is it the documentaries between the Notre
No,
Dame Miami? Does that not
no.
have any? Is it the when Brian Kelly was there? Is it the quote about the "We don't win the big games here at Notre Dame," or people complaining about we can't win big games at Notre Dame? Is it that?
Yeah, well, that's a
I feel
reason.
like a lot of it's disdain. I feel like a lot of people just have disdain for Brian Kelly more than they do
Well,
for Notre
yeah,
Dame.
I do too. That I don't like him. I don't like him. I didn't like him at Notre Dame, and I don't even like him at LSU. Like that's just me. I think Brett's overrated, but that's just me. And I don't even have no proof to back it up. But well, I kind of do, but I'm not gonna go into details about that. But I'm glad A&M won again. I think it's a little bit of how mainstream media. There's so many old school dudes in mainstream media that will still hold on to Notre Dame of being this team that is one of the upper echelon teams in college football. Oh, there's another reason. Them jokers won't join a daggone conference. Look, I'm all be it for being different, and I understand the independent circuit of things, but when you're not part of a conference, you're not playing a conference championship, and you're able to just like scoot on, or like you know, skip your way into a college football playoff without having to win a conference championship, or at least go through the gauntlet of a conference, that offends me. Like that ticks me off. That I despise that.
I understand.
Like very much so.
I
So
understand.
A&M, I'm glad they were able to get the win, and they did it in dramatic fashion. Again, I have no dislike for Marcus Freeman. I like Marcus Freeman, I really do. I just hated they did that Notre Dame. Cause, dog, think about this. Every other sports program that's at Notre Dame is in the ACC.
Yes, that is correct.
And look, I get the whole TV deals with NBC and all that. I'm not gonna knock them for that. Get your money. But at the same time, I'm like, bro, everything around you is in the ACC. Why can't your football team do it? You gonna make the conference better? Well, to a degree.
They'd probably get less money if they win and join the ACC.
It's like
I don't know
they
that for a fact, but I'd have to assume that's part of the reasoning.
them jokers just infuriate me, man. They infuriate me. But let's move on. We still got
All right.
some NFL to get into. But congrats to A&M, congrats to Bama. But dog, let's get into some NFL games. We got a lot to get into. There was a lot of really good games that went on this week. Um, we had several good primetime games, but I want to go ahead and get this off my chest. As a Seahawks fan, I like to thank God for the first time ever. I like to thank God for the LA Chargers for what I saw that Monday night game. Proved every bit of thought that I ever had about Pete Carroll around this stage of his career and Geno Smith. There was a reason why I was glad they were left. For the simple fact, Geno's not consistent or good or not even close to great in prime time, and Pete Carroll gets out coached on a consistent basis. Now I give the Raiders and Geno a ton of credit for going in New England and knocking them out, but there was no spotlight in that one. But they were able to go in and handle their business. But they're not going to go very far. Geno,
You think the Raiders? You think the Raiders finish last in the division again?
yes, they need a quarterback for the future. And I'm listening to a few analysts on, and I know you're gonna hit me for a strike. I don't care on this one. It's a side joke that we got.
I'll
Dog,
explain the strike joke at the end.
yeah, dog, folks, you got some folks that are saying like he, like Pete Carroll's gonna be able to put the Raiders in the right direction or like rebuild the Raiders or what they're at. Do we not know how old Pete Carroll is?
Pete
Now
Carroll
he's
is
young at heart.
70. He's 70 what?
Let me see.
74.
Yeah, he's 74. He's young at heart, and he can still move good for a 74-year-old. Heck, my grandfather's 80 and he can still run. So I'm not knocking that. But dog, this what always infuriated me when he was in Seattle. I know you are a player's coach, but you're supposed to be a defensive-minded coach, but you get out coached by a weekly basis. Sean McVay kept abusing you. Kyle Shanahan kept abusing you. Who even now he was able to beat Arizona. Give him credit, but it got so infuriating with me saying like you're supposed to be a defensive-minded coach, but you don't make no adjustments. You
Mind you,
just
he
step.
just named. Mind you, for everyone watching, he just named two of the best offensive coaches in the game right now.
I get that, but they're in your division. You got to find a way to beat them, and you're supposed to be one of the best coaches in the league. You're supposed
True.
to be one of the best coaches of all time in all of football.
Hey man,
It was just if you it frustrated me so much that we kept getting out coached and out coached and out coached almost every single week. Like it got to a point where when we lost the Legion of Boom, it was literally Russell Wilson, and we'll get on to him a little bit later on. I want to get this out of my chest. It was literally Russell Wilson and just like letting them cook, even though he was trying to run the ball a whole lot. And I get the nature of that, but you did a bad job as far as acquiring. I'm not going to go down this rabbit hole.
let's get to the
Look,
games. Let's get
yeah,
to the games.
look. Good luck to the Raiders. Good luck to the Raiders, but you're not going to go that far. I'm sorry about that. Let me get to my team first. Well, let me get to my team first.
Seahawks
We went.
31-17 went. I didn't
Go
catch
ahead.
the game, but the weirdest thing I saw, they kept showing this highlight all day, and this is
Yes,
a lack
we're gonna
of
talk about it.
coaching. This is poor coaching or
I
poor
don't even.
knowledge of coaching being passed around. I'm talking about the kickoff return
Yeah, but
situation.
I'm not even gonna talk. I don't even think that was on the coach. That was like that's pee wee football. You touch the ball at any point in the game on kickoff, it's a live ball. Like that one, I'm not even gonna put that. That's something I'm not even gonna put on coaching. Like Caleb Johnson, I remember him back when he was at Iowa. He was a really good running back when he was at Iowa. I'm not sure if you remember him.
Yeah, he was solid. I remember maybe one or two Iowa games that happened to
Yeah,
be on the TV, and I caught it. But
yeah.
either way it goes, it's just a massive
It was
"what are you doing"
it was a
moment.
boneheaded mistake. Like literally. But my team went in there, handled business, did what they were supposed to do, and get and come up with the dub. We were able to pressure Aaron. We were able to pressure Aaron Rodgers a lot. I mean, we got. Let me see. We got 3 sacks on the game. One and a half by Byron Murphy, and the other half by Leo. And then like Jaron Reed was able to get one. We were able to get a whole bunch of pressure on them, and then we were able to pick off Aaron Rodgers. Also,
2 picks.
Two picks by Aaron Rodgers. Great play by shoot, what was the name? Great play by Darion Kendrick. But dog, I don't know. Not a lot of folks are paying attention to this. Josh Jobe, he balling right now. He
Really?
balling right now. Dog, I ain't never seen Josh Jobe ball like this. Not even when he was at Bama. Because on the opposite side, he was on he was with Patrick Surtain. And I ain't not like, and he always got picked on, and he got picked on a lot back when he was at Bama. Like it was
Yep.
infuriating me. I'm happy for the kid. I'm happy for the dog.
I think
But yeah, we was
as far as the Steelers side of things, I'm just looking at the stats here. But was it 48, 68, 70,
yep,
72 total rushing yards
yep,
for the Steelers in that game. So they
and we
once
had
again have a poor run game in Pittsburgh.
yep.
Their quarterback's old and probably is only on a 1-year deal
And think about it, they scored what 31, 38 last like the week prior.
against the Jets.
Yeah, against the Jets, and we saw what Josh Allen did to him.
Yeah. So the Steelers, I know you're a Seahawks fan, but I'm just looking at it from the Steelers' perspective. Just looking at the numbers here, it just doesn't look like there's any direction forward for the Steelers. Obviously they have their division play, one of the tougher divisions in
Yeah,
football, Bengals, Ravens,
they scored 30.
and then the
Yeah, they scored
Browns.
34 last week.
Yeah, and then they also have the Packers on the schedule. They have to play the Chargers. They have to play the Bills and Dolphins. And Lions. Yeah, it doesn't get any easier for the Steelers going
Yep.
forward. So
It,
I would just like
it's not. It's not,
If you were
and
a
they still have.
Pittsburgh fan, if you were a Pittsburgh fan, I'd be kind of upset just because it doesn't look like you have anything to look forward to at the moment. Whether that be this season, I
Don't
know
even
you're
get
only
me
one and
started.
one. Whether that's this season or
Don't
just
even get.
looking beyond.
Don't forget, they got injuries on that defense. Jalen Ramsey was able to get cooked quite a bit. The defense doesn't play that. Defense has not been able to play that great. So
And your defense is
they
also
got to figure. They got to.
Ramsey's a bit up there in age for a defensive
Yup.
back. Hayward's been there forever.
Yup. Oh,
TJ Watt's not that old, but still.
nah.
I don't know. It just doesn't look bright in Pittsburgh right now. They're only 1-1. They
It
could turn
it
around,
it,
but
it does not.
yeah.
It
Go
does
on to the
not.
next game. What's the next game we got, Jalen?
Next game we got. Let's see. Let's see. Let's go to Cincinnati because some big news came. Oh, I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna come back to that one. We got to mention this one. The honor of my co-host, who was a Jags fan. They came up with the loss against the Cincinnati Bengals, 31-27. Joe Burrow went out with turf toe, and it came back reported that he will be out for quite some time. I think 3 months to be exact. But the story of this game, outside of Joe Burrow's injury, was the fact that Jake Browning. Oh shoot, wasn't Browning the former Washington quarterback?
Like Washington University or University of
Yes,
Washington?
University of Washington. Wasn't he a quarterback at University of Washington?
Maybe. Let's look it up. I got you for a sec. Jake.
But anyway,
Yeah,
Trevor
he was
Lawrence.
at Washington from 2015 to 2018.
I remember him. Like that's the dude that threw that pick six to Ryan Anderson in the college football playoff.
Really? I did not realize that.
He was remember when Washington that year had shoot, let's see, John Ross,
Mm-hmm.
Vita Vea,
Mm-hmm.
and there was another speed. Did it like Pennis. Uh, he used to play with used to play with the Niners. But anyway, Trevor Lawrence, he finished the game. Trevor Lawrence on the other side, he had 271 yards, 2 interceptions, touchdowns. Um, like Browning stepped in, he had 241, 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. You got to give the Bengals credit; they're 2-0 right now. This is the best start that they've had in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
But but at what cost? And it costs you your quarterback. Now, Jamar Chase, he might be the best receiver in football. 14 catches, 165 and the TD. Same thing with Higgins. He had 56 and a touchdown.
You got the best You have the best receivers in football.
Yep.
Your backup quarterback was able to get you to 31 points. Browning is entering if he can pull it off. Now, obviously, it'll be tough, but it. My point is, Browning is entering I want to say it was 2019 situation of the New Orleans Saints. Drew Brees went down early in the. I want to say it was 2019. Drew Brees went down early in that year, and Teddy Bridgewater came in and filled in for a backup role, and Teddy Bridgewater led the Saints to a 6-0 record while Drew Brees was out. And the Saints, I believe, were still able to make the playoffs that year. So I believe it was 6-0. I know he went undefeated while he was the starting quarterback for the Saints that year. So the question in Cincinnati is, can Browning do that for the Bengals? And depending on what the record gets to, at what point do we like, okay, we think we can get Burrow back this when you just need Browning to hold up? Or if everything just goes south real quick, do you just shut Burrow down for the year if everything goes south? If everything goes south,
You
like
have
what would
to.
be the
You
point
have.
of bringing him back in December?
I mean, you have to. To me, to me, you got to. Dog, they're not gonna go far without him. They're just not. Like they, Yes, their defense is playing a lot better. Got to give them credit on that one.
Hmm.
Especially with especially the way that Jordan Battle has been playing. You got to
Hmm.
give him credit on that. But at the same time, I'm like, dog, that's not enough. You need Burrow. I don't see where Jake Brown is going to be able to take that team, take that squad, and compete. Well, they're going to compete, but they're not going to be able to beat the Ravens. And I know we got to be, and I know we got to move on. But with Joe Burrow being out, there's only some. Dog, I just can't see it. I see him being done.
I don't
But
know.
anyway,
Teddy Bridgewater did it for the Saints, 6-0.
you know,
Just saying.
we'll see. There was a Super Bowl rematch. There was a
The
Super
older I
Bowl.
get, the more I'm like, is it a rematch if the teams aren't fully the same?
Well, that's true, but we still got to go off the brands, and you know it's going to be for a TV thing. But anyway, the Philadelphia Eagles, they're ready to come out with the win over the Kansas City Chiefs. Philadelphia, we know what the deal is. Jalen Hurts had 100 threw for 101 yards in the game. They were able to come out with the win. Was not a great day offensively for neither sides. Both
Mm-mm.
sides defense were able to come through, and the game changing play was Andrew Makuba coming up with the interception where the ball bounced off on Travis Kelsey's hands that would have been a touchdown for them, and was able to return it.
Yep.
But my biggest takeaway was on Philly. I do not like Kevin Patula, and I know it's early, but he looks way overwhelmed at that offensive coordinator position. And this resembles like what Philadelphia Eagles looked like back in 2023 when after they lost the Super Bowl, and that's not a good sign.
Yeah, I mean, they started off strong when they played the Cowboys week one. They started off strong, but ever since then, ever since that rain delay, it's like, hey, we're just going to do just enough. And I'm not sure how much of it is just like, hey, the defenses are playing really good defense on my top two wide receivers in Devontae Smith and AJ Brown. And Jalen's just got to check it down to the running back or hit the tight end, finding a soft spot in the zone. The Eagles might just have to look like that for the year because that's ever since the Chiefs traded Tyreek Hill, or even when Tyreek was there, more or less, it kind of just your offense kind of simmers down after a while, and you just have to, teams figure you out, and you kind of just have to do what you have to do to win the game, and that's what the Eagles have done through 2 weeks. I mean,
If
you
you're
can be annoyed by it all you want, but
They're getting it done.
they're getting it done. So why can you really be
I'm
mad
not.
about it?
And one thing, speaking of getting it done, I'm not getting into that conversation about the brotherly shove. I'm just not gonna do it because one, we ain't got a lot of time left. But I will say this: if you're Kansas City and you gotta go to New York, and the Giants just put up one heck of a fight against Dallas. You got one, you have to get the win, but also two, they got to get their weapons back because defensively, there's only so much they could do, but offensively, they just don't look like they don't have that same energy, that same atmosphere, that same aura, that same like confidence on the offensive side of the ball that they once had. First off, they can't run the ball. We unlike you mentioned, the Steelers are
Oh, the
incapable of
Chiefs
running the
are
ball. So
abysmal. The Chiefs are abysmal
yes,
running the ball. It's hard.
and they
It's hard to watch the Chiefs play offense.
yes, it used to be fun, but now it's not it anymore. And you got to give Tyquan Thornton his credit. He was able to come up with a big play against Guantanamo Bay and Quinyon Mitchell. But at the same time, outside of that, Mahomes missed a lot of throws that would have been six early on, and he leads the team in rushing. Again, that's not good.
Mm-mm.
So for Kansas City, they got to figure some stuff out because dog, it ain't gonna get no easier. The Chargers are playing good football. The Broncos, even though they lost to the Colts, they're still playing good football. Raiders, never mind. Um, but it look great win for Philly, but they got to clean up some stuff on their offensive end because defense is gonna be fine. It's gonna figure it out. Now they got to go against the Rams this weekend. And Matthew Stafford, he playing good ball. Devontae Adams is still Devontae Adams, still able to gain separation, and Puka Nakua is still Puka Nakua. And basically, we already know the matchup. Like the key for like the Rams in that game is going to be whoever is on Adoree Jackson, go at him. Simply put, so they got to figure that stuff out. And good
Yep.
luck to them. Last, I believe, yeah, the last game I want to get into.
Oh, that was a fun watch. That was a very fun
This
watch.
this was to me, and you can make a case for Tampa Bay's win over Houston. This to me was my like my favorite game to watch. Obviously, because my quarterback is still Russell Wilson. Like he one of the main reasons I became a Seahawks fan, and still my all time favorite quarterback. To see him have the game that he had against Dallas meant a lot to me. I hated that the way it ended for him to throw that interception. Don't know what he was thinking, and that's a mistake that you can't have. But you got to give, especially with all the noises that's been circulating around the Giants saying, when is Jackson Dart gonna start? When is Jackson Dart gonna start? When is Jackson Dart gonna play? And to go out there and give the Giants a chance to be able to win the game, you got to give him credit. But dog, this dude, for mind you, I hate the Cowboys with a burning passion. That kicker, that number 1-7,
Dude's a baller. What can you say?
bro. I said, dog, I said this live. I said once Malik Neighbors got that touchdown, I said, do not let Dallas get across the 50. Don't even let them get to their 49. If he get across the 50, they're gonna tie it. And boy, did they do it.
He could probably
And
hit
you
it
got to
from
give that
70 if
credit.
he wants to.
He's the ultimate weapon. Like Justin Tucker, for some, I don't want to say officially, somehow, some way, he by spirit passed the torch to him
He
because
lost
it
his
used to be
powers
Justin
and gave it to
Tucker to
Aubrey.
have like to have that. Yeah, lost his powers, and then Aubrey for some ungodly reason has been able to like take that power. And mind you, we're spending time talking about a kicker, but like he's the ultimate weapon in the NFL.
Especially, I don't know where I saw this, but it's a big point, or it's kind of a point now with the kickoff rule. If you kick it through the back of the end zone, they come out to the 35, and that becomes a bigger deal late in the game.
Yep.
Because like if you're the Cowboy or if you're the Giants and you kick it off to them, that's not how this game ended. But
Nah.
you kick it off to, let's say you just scored and you're kicking it off to the Cowboys, and your coach tells your kicker just kick it out of the back of the end zone. About 5 or so years ago, they're only coming out to the 25. Now they come out to the 35-yard line to start, and you got a full 30 seconds. Then you telling me I got 30 seconds to get 15 yards and then I'm good? Like, that's way too easy. Or yeah, it's way too easy, especially if you have a 10-year vet acute quarterback. You had a top 5 wide receiver in the league. Yeah, a wide
Yep.
receiver 2 is pretty good. I mean, you don't have to do much. All you need is like one
It,
timeout. You're good. They know the situation. Hey, get out of bounds. Hey, get here,
now,
get out of bounds. You're good to go to tie it or take the lead.
yep. But we're gonna we're gonna move on. We're gonna react to some. We're gonna react to a video by Dabo Sweeney in a little bit. Then we're gonna give our predictions for week 3 and maybe some of our big games that we think that, and we're gonna give our thoughts for a couple of big games going into week 4 of college football. Dog, let me ask you this. So
Okay.
obviously you saw the Clemson Georgia Tech game.
I saw the very end of it. That was
You saw the very end of it. I saw the whole dag. I saw the end of it too.
dude.
Um,
That is probably I was thinking, what are they doing at first? I thought it was very poorly ran, but afterwards, like looking back at it, they got on the field with 10 seconds left. They got there with plenty of time.
no, without question, Haynes King is a Heisman candidate. Like for what he's doing in
You think
college.
so?
Here's the thing. I remember I called you about that. I literally told you, dog. He's the right-handed Tim Tebow. He does not throw it great, but he's able to move the. He's the way he's controlling the offense is similar to what I like from my point of view. The way Georgia Tech runs their offense is very similar to what the Florida Gators ran back when they had Tebow.
I can see
It's
that.
it's run heavy, man, and they're very physical with it. I still remember watching when they played against Florida State in Ireland last year.
Is Ireland a curse, by the way? If you lose in Ireland, I think you're cursed because I think what's Kansas State's record?
I think they won a few games like since then.
No, the Kansas State lost that first game. One and one, 1-2. Kansas State is 1-3 right now. I think Ireland. If you lose in Ireland, you might be cursed for the year.
Yeah, you know what, you might be right, but dog,
Back to Georgia Tech point.
yeah. Georgia Tech balling right now. Haynes King is the Heisman candidate, but we got to get into this question because, bruh, it's crazy what's going on. What's going on in Clemson.
Play
But
the clip.
I gotta
Play
ask:
the
is
clip.
Dabo in trouble?
Play the clip first. Play the clip
All right,
first.
all right, I'll play it. Nope, nope. Yep.
Here we go.
They want me gone. If they tired of winning, they can send me on the way because that's all we've done is win. So if they tired of winning, we've won this league 8 out of the last 10 years. Is that not good? I'm just asking. Is that good? I don't know if that's good or not. To win your league 8 out of 10 years, to go to the playoffs 7 out of 10 years, be in 4 national championships, win it twice. Yeah, we a little down right now. Take your shots, but I got a long memory in case y'all don't know. We'll be all right. We'll bounce back. This is a program built to last. Always has been. Always will be. And I would just say if you give up on us if you don't believe on us because we've lost 2 games down to the last straight and we're one, you didn't believe in us anyway. So it don't matter. You went all in anyway. If you're all in, you burn the ships, man. There ain't no exit strategy. Like you're freaking all in. And hey, listen, I mean, if Clemson's tired of winning, they send me on my way, but I'm gonna go somewhere else and coach. I ain't going to the beach. Hell, I'm 55. I got a long way to go. Y'all gonna have to deal with me for a while. I got a long way to go. I'm just getting going. I'm just now good enough to be a head coach.
He's a little fiery. He was a little fiery at that press conference.
But I think I like Dabo. I will always have respect for Dabo. But I still got to go back to this question: is he in trouble?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely
Yeah,
not, dude. That program is not supposed to be what Dabo has gotten it to be.
Yeah, exactly.
That program's not even supposed to be that good. But because of what Dabo's done in the 10 plus years he's been there, absolutely not. He's right. Here's what he's right about. He's right on the history lesson that he gave. Teams aren't just winning their conference 8 out of the last 10 years. That's not just happening everywhere you go. That's not just happening anywhere. It's what Bama wins it a lot, and then Georgia wins the SEC a lot. The SEC has basically been split between Bama, Georgia, and LSU for the past 15 years or so, and barely LSU. But to Dabo's point, 8 out of the last 10 years, you can't just run them out just because you got off to a bad start this year. But what he's not right about is that they are fans and whoever else is right to maybe have be a little angry about their start because they brought a lot of talent back. They brought their quarterback back. They brought a lot of wide receivers back. They brought a lot of defensive linemen back.
Mind you,
They brought a lot of defense back.
Mind you, Klubnik is rated like the number 1 quarterback going into the draft at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, I want to get into a chat about that a little bit later. But the point being, Clemson brought back a lot of talent. And for them to start 1-2, I think it's fair for the fan base to be, mad, say that's unacceptable, especially since that's the caliber of football that Dabo's
That's the expectation.
That's the caliber of football that Dabo's brought for the last 15 years or so. So, I mean, I don't think it's wrong for them to be mad at him right now, but I don't think he's in any trouble of leaving Clemson. I don't think
My
that's happening.
my thing, I don't think he's in trouble, but I do think he's getting close to being put on the hot seat.
Absolutely not. Not even
Like
close.
the way I look at it is right where we talked about. Yes, two things can be true. Clemson's program should not be what it is if it was not for Dabo Sweeney. They don't get those championships if it wasn't for Dabo Sweeney and the plays that he bring in. However, because they have been winning, because that fan base and those boosters and those people that have poured that money into that program, because they taste because they taste like the fountain of champions, they don't want to go back to ordinary water. They don't want to go back to being mediocre. And mind you, dog, they're in the ACC. There
Mm-hmm.
is no powerhouse in the ACC. It's really just them and everybody else that it's been the last few years. Now, Florida State, they're having a good year. Georgia Tech is having a good year, and you lost to Georgia Tech. You've been beating them for a long time, but you lost to them, and now you're basically in the behind. You're still in the hunt for the ACC championship, but you got to. I think they got to play Florida State they got to play Florida State sometime this season. So what can put you on a hot seat is when one, you're not winning, and two, you're not able to recruit at a high level or bring talent in. And that would be number three. And what's been hindering them from being able to bring that same talent? Albeit you mentioned it, they got a defensive line that's there that's going to be that, like some guys are going into a lot of guys are going into the NFL, and they should be competing. They should be competing and not losing the games that they lost. But what's been the thing that they've been very critical about, especially a lot of folks like in this current landscape of college football when it comes to Dabo.
But they've been critical about. Dabo started off by saying he didn't want to embrace NIL and transfer
One
portal when it first came through.
and two, and that's what's hindering them. Dog, what's the old saying? For
Adapt or
those,
die.
yes, adapt or die. And at this rate, we're starting to see. We've been watching the decline of Clemson football the last few seasons, as far as being up there with the Alabamas, the Georgias, that one season of LSU. Heck, LSU beat them in the national championship, but they ain't got no Trevor Lawrence. They don't have no Deshaun Watson. They don't have none of that at this moment in time. In the defense, yes, they got talent, but they haven't been playing really good right now. And like you got a quarterback that's supposed to be that talented, he's struggling right now. So yeah, Dabo's not in trouble as far as like he's gonna get fired at the end of the year, even though some folks might be calling for it in that area. I don't really know. Trying to get in contact with somebody that reports it for that team just to get the feel for it. Hopefully, I'll be able to get that figured out. But at the moment, I do see him slowly getting into that hot seat.
I would just say if you're Clemson, you don't want Dabo entering a high ego situation where it's like he can only max it out so much, and you just have Mike Gundy, but in Clemson instead of Oklahoma State. Because I think Gundy's probably in that same situation now where he's maxed out that program. And I don't know. I don't know if the fan base is getting tired of him.
That is the right word, maxing out the program. That is the right word to me.
But I feel like people in Stillwater, I've seen it like once or twice a year, but people in Stillwater are probably tired of Gundy just not winning the Big 12. And it feels like maybe Gundy's like maxed out his program as far as it can get. So I feel like maybe Clemson doesn't want that to happen with Dabo, and where he just starts having ego contests with the media every week.
And dog, like I don't remember Dabo ever really getting into it heavy with the media.
But you just don't want an ego contest. You don't want your coach falling in.
You can't have that. You don't want that distraction.
Mm-mm.
Look, well, okay. What's their schedule? What's their schedule at this moment?
You looking it up?
Yeah, I'm gonna try. I know they're not ranked anymore.
But to answer that question right down there, Dabo being in trouble, absolutely not. Like he's not gonna get fired at the end of the year. I think the
No,
better question would
no.
be is how bad do you think the ego could develop in the
Well, let
next
me.
year or so?
Okay, let's just imagine. Say they do, because like we already passed an hour. Let's say they do. What's that buyout? And more importantly, who you gonna bring in? Because I can't think of nobody to be able to take over that program. Mm-mm.
Following the guy or the guy at that program would not. It's probably not going to be fun for whoever has to follow Dabo.
No. Same thing with Saban. But dog, look, they got Syracuse this week. They host Syracuse this week. They're at North Carolina. They're at Boston College. They're home. They're home against SMU. They got a bye week before they go into November. Then they host Duke. Then you probably gonna be college game day. Probably gonna be in Clemson that week because they're hosting Florida State. If Florida State keep doing what they're doing, then you got Louisville. Then you're at Louisville, Furman, and then you got to go. And then you got to go to Columbia.
Sounds like a very winnable schedule for Clemson.
It does sound like that, but at the same time, the way that they are playing, how much do you really believe it?
I very much believe it that they could win all those games. Georgia, any Atlanta reporter will tell you that Georgia Tech's been on the up and up for a few years now, and that was just a signature win that Brent Key got there.
Now,
so I think Clemson could win all of those games.
No, they can, but will they win enough? Will they win enough that is going to keep them in the mix? Because again, Georgia Tech's winning, Florida State winning, and if Florida State beat Clemson, they probably secured them a spot in the ACC championship. But again, we'll see. But Jason, appreciate your time for being on the show. Appreciate you filling in. Tell the folks where they can find you, because I know you're still doing sports work right now.
Yeah, y'all can just follow me on Twitter. Really, I tweet every now and then. At jdub_sports is the name. Let me double check that just to be sure. Yeah, at jdub_sports 16. Yeah, but that's pretty much it for me right now, man. Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Real quick, give me your thoughts on your Falcons dominating the Minnesota Vikings on Sunday Night Football.
Love that they closed the game out well. We haven't played that well we haven't played whenever we have defensive performances like that, we usually waste them. But on Sunday night, we did not waste it. It was a pretty dominant win, and I'm glad we didn't waste it, because last time we had a great defensive performance like that was against the Chargers last year, and we wasted it at home. So I'm glad to see them close a game like that. Hope they can keep it up. The rookies, man, Walker, Pierce, Watts, Bowman, they all performed well, which is very exciting to see.
Well, look, dog, good luck. You got to go to Carolina this week, so good luck to your team. And I'll talk to you later, dog.
All right.
Have a good night. And right now, that's going to close our show. Obviously, we got to do our shout outs. I'm not going to be able to do it as good as Garrett usually does it, but I'm going to go ahead and do the best that I can. Shout out to Fan of the Van. Shout out to Jim 1420 Sports. Shout out to Brutally Honest Sports Podcast. Shout out to Aaron and Nate's Daily Wagers. I don't gamble. That's their thing. Shout out to Chill Takes. That is my dog Darren. Haven't talked to him in a minute. We got to try to be able to get you on. Shout out to IAP Radio, at the Average Joe Sports Podcast. Shout out to the podcast for my dog Joe Gaither. Let's see, Cup of Joe Podcast. I believe that's his name. Shout out to John Wrestling Fan Insight. And always, and I think I said this right, Garrett, always check out Sports After Dark, Twitter Space, and their podcast as well. As for myself, appreciate y'all tuning in. My name is Jalen Prince. Y'all have a good night. Peace.